We decided then to update the manifesto so that it would be something useful and timely, given with the Westminster elections, and something that whenever politicians come knocking at your door and asking for your vote, at least you have got something to reference and say, what are you going to do in relation to that?
If every council would support the writing up of a similar document, what that would mean for women throughout Northern Ireland would be an engagement in a whole process of conversation, discussion, debate and argument with their politicians locally. So of course, local councils are not going to fund that work. So I would really urge all of you who have got contacts throughout the whole of Northern Ireland to take this document and bring it to every single council area and encourage people to rewrite, as we have been doing this week with women we've been working with, regionally, to rewrite this as appropriate to their areas, so that when politicians do come knocking on your doors and their doors, that they can say, okay, so, and by God, what a shock the politicians would get if they were faced by women who were as informed as we want them to be.
As a lobbyist, it's my job to campaign and lobby on all of those, everything that's in that document actually. And it's also my job to encourage yourselves, to encourage and empower women to lobby for themselves. So the number for WRD is on the back of that manifesto. Give us a call, if you want to do some lobbying, if you're not sure how to approach your local MLAs or your local councillors, give me a shout. I'm the woman who can help you do that, who can encourage you, your groups, your organisations. I don't mind coming out and chatting to you and just helping women to lobby for themselves, because I'm only one person, so we can all do it.
When we talk about what it is to be a woman in Northern Ireland and how our experience is completely ignored in wider politics, for me it's about reproductive justice, it's about the issue of abortion, it's about our choice. It's not about whether you support it or not, because really it's nobody else's business but your own. And I volunteer as an escort for Mary Stopes clinic in Belfast, along with Kelly O'Dowd here as well, and a few others. But we watch day in, daily, as the clinic users are harassed on the streets by protesters, are watched by the police who do nothing but stand back and let that happen. So not only are they exercising their right to free legal health care, but they're being harassed and no action taken all the time. Domestic violence is on the rise. Women's Aid and every other organisation working in this are just calling out, trying to get people to acknowledge what's happening at the minute. Sexual violence, I also work for Nexus, and their report have put out that 1 in 4 of us, and that's men, women and children, should expect to be abused at some stage in your life. 1 in 4.
The document raises key issues, and certainly for me, and one of the issues that we have been raising as trade unionists for many, many years is women and the economy. It hasn't permeated the radar of our politicians as yet, but this is the start of a conversation, and that's how I see it. Now, Richard Ramsay, who is the Chief Executive of the Ulster Bank, just last week stated that Northern Ireland was at a watershed moment. And take a look moreover at what it means for women in our society. We are at a watershed moment. I absolutely believe that we are, but we're also at a crossroads, and that crossroads is what sort of society do we want to exist in as women and as people. And I think the type of advice that the likes of Richard Ramsay is given is being cheerleaded by politicians, and it's one that is a cold house for women as far as I'm concerned. And I think when we talk the language of cuts, of restructuring, of watershed moments, I think it's a euphemism, and I think it's a mask for many other things. If you break it down, what it actually means is, it means women moving out of the labour market. There are more women employed in the labour market than ever, but interestingly, it means that women are employed in the ever-increasing pool of casualised labour and zero-hours contracts. It means for the first time in decades, which is incredible, the gender pay gap has started to widen.
Childcare, as we all know, is inextricably linked to anything women do. Any women in Northern Ireland, urban, rural, class, whatever you look at, different races, different cultures, if you can't provide childcare for those women, they're not empowered to make their choices. whether it's for a class or whether it's for the court or whether it's just to learn more about parenting. You're taking choices away from women. So there's no point putting on a whole lot of things if childcare isn't part of it. My understanding is the childcare strategy, keep me right, Orla, is still sitting up. No government department wants it, how dare they? It's still sitting with the OFMD-FM, 9 years. I think the last consultation they forgot not to 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, not in the document. Sure, all the talks about early years. The new cut that's just come in through early years, the old NIPA, they have just taken out early years. That affects Windsor 2 posts, but I know that that's throughout Northern Ireland. All those jobs hack away, weaken. Well, they don't have to weaken us. And we had a very powerful lobby before when we overturned an ESF and got an appeal. We're now going to have a powerful lobby again.
The interesting thing I think about reproductive justice is when we talk about that, we don't just mean reproductive health care. We don't just mean access to abortion. It's not just about abortion. It's not just about pregnancy. What happens afterwards? What happens when that baby's born? Reproductive justice is also about the right to parent without fear, to parent with support in the ways that you choose. It was just mentioned that without childcare, women are not empowered to make those choices, and that's absolutely right. Reproductive justice goes way farther than just access to healthcare.
All over the world where women have come through a conflict situation, where women are involved in the peacemaking and peace building process and transformation afterwards, that those countries have long lasting peace and solutions to their problems. Of course, the answer to all of this, everyone in this room knows, is the implementation of UN Resolution 1325, women, peace and security. Where's that in Northern Ireland? I'll tell you where it is. It's been stopped in its tracks. It's been stopped in its tracks because there's no progression from our government, because they do not want women represented. They do not want women to have their rightful place in this society. However, there is an appetite at the minute for women on the ground and women everywhere to come together and mobilise and do something about this. We've got the document now in our hand that we can use in the up and coming election. And you know, if women don't know about it, they can't ask about it. So we're giving women a very, very valuable tool to make this happen.